Good evening. Happy Monday. It is, of course, Monday, um, Moon Day. Come on. There we go. Oh my gosh. So it is Monday, day of the moon. It is also a full moon. It is also a day of very needy, large cats. So I'm just going to roll with this here. Um, this is Doodles. He is a very large black cat. He doesn't usually like to hang out when I go live. I don't think he likes it when I talk directly into his body and face. Okay. So, oh my God, fine. I'm so sorry about this. Good evening. Welcome to Three of Cups, Divine Arts. This is Liz Whitaker of Divination Station Tarot. And this is Doodles. He is apparently my tarot cat today. Nope, there we go. Just gonna drink my water. Oh my gosh. One moment. Come on, I love you. Oh my God. Okay, let's start that again. Okay. This is Liz Whitaker of Divination Station Tarot. Thank you for joining me on Three of Cups Live, Three of Cups Divine Arts. Today, we are going over the nines, okay? So all about the nines of the tarot. We've been through so much of the journey, and we are now, let's see, there we go. I'm going to share this out. Yeah. Okay, and I think the comments are not showing up here because I see them when I go to share it out, but I'm not seeing it in the comments here for some reason. So that's weird. So I'll keep an eye on that and share this out a couple places. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully the comments will straighten up. And I'm still not seeing them, so that's super fun. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. So I just posted my link. And we'll see what happens. Just looking for one more. There we go. Riveting post so far, isn't it? Okay, yep. For some reason, I am not seeing the comments popping up here. So I'm going to read the comments on my phone, okay? And we're going to go here because for some reason, that's what's happening right now. All right, so Billy, Trudy, hello. All right, so I will be doing readings after. I just got a comment, hashtag shared, and I'm going to try to keep up, but like I said, for some reason my comments are not showing up here. So I'll try to keep up. Okay, so at the nines, we've been through let me turn that down. We've been through the journey of the tarot so far. Last week we went through the eights, which were those gate cards, okay? The 8s were a moment of transition from one spot to another. Marlene, hello. Marlene from Michigan. And again, for some reason, the comments aren't showing up for me, so I'm reading them off my phone. So if it seems like I'm not engaging right away, it's because I got to check here. Farah, hello. So again, if you do want a card, just comment #shared. We are trying to grow the audience, of course. And the best way to do that organically is to get videos shared out. So if you want to do that, that would be awesome. All right, so 9s. 9s are all about, of course, he's on my notes. 9s are all about a change for the better. So after, Carla, hello. After the journey that we've had, right, 9s are going to be a moment before change. It's also completion. So it's 10s are going to be that final chapter. Okay, 10s are going to be the 10s are going to be that final pivot point and where the chapter closes. Oh, New Zealand. Carla, hello. Wow. Eric, hello. Trudy, got you. Eric, Farah, got you. So I will do readings towards the end. So 9s. One of the questions that we do want to ask ourselves with the 9s as well is, what is the price that we paid for that completion? And sometimes it might seem like we overpaid, and sometimes it might seem like we didn't, okay? There's no right or wrong answer to that. It's just something to reflect on. Another thing about the 9s is it makes that perfect square, right? The 3x3 makes that 3x3 cube. And that is a really powerful incarnation. Oh, Vivian, hi. It's awesome to see you. I hope everything is going fantastic. Hi. So 3s are a magical number, right? 3s are the lucky number, a lot of people's lucky number, right? And 3s were all about cooperation and grouping together. So when we look at it in the 9s, it's that times 3. When you look at the cards, okay, we're going to start with the 9 of Wands. There's themes of isolation in the card. It always seems like the person is kind of blocked off from other people or other areas. It seems like they're blocked off. And we want to look at how far we've come on our journey. So that contemplation, and that contemplation can come in that isolation zone, right? We're going to think about the journey. We're going to think about the lessons. We're going to think about the price. We're going to think about all those things. So 9 of Wands. So he's defensive, okay, but in a different way than the 7 was. 7s are a little bit more defensive against other people. The 9 of Wands is almost more protective, okay? He's suspicious of the lull. So if you kind of look at the face, kind of the facial expression, it's kind of like what's coming up next. Like nothing's going on right now, but what's coming up next. So he's got that suspicion to him. Ready to fight another fight. He's still holding his very large wand to fight with. Cheryl, hello. And there's some tension there. right? His stance is very stiff, and he's got that bandage on, so he's got some head wounds going on there. Could be psychic energy. It could be he's also still looking for another fight. He's got 0 chill. 9s are fire energy, after all. So it could be he's just kind of like waiting for that other shoe to drop kind of thing. So again, that's of course the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Hola! And 9 of Wands in the Thoth deck is strength. So it has a bit of a different initial feel. This has more of the feeling of standing strong and blocking and guarding, whereas this one is a little bit more feeling-y almost, a little bit more hesitant. This one has that feeling of, you know, that really large kind of wand in the middle, and really protecting and defending the rest of them. So here, it's going to be the Sun and Sagittarius. Okay, so literally the Sun up there. And the Wands, these look like arrows. So it's kind of like in the 8 of Wands, where everything was going really quickly. And down here we have Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is, of course, that fire energy. So this is really, really fiery. The other deck that I chose to kind of focus today is the Mary L. Tarot. And it is this is the box for it. It's a big one. The Mary L. Tarot by Marie White. And it has it's Landscapes of the Apocalypse. So it's a little bit on the dark side. Really good for shadow work. Really good for anything where you really want to confront yourself. Okay. Here's the 9 of Wands here. These cards are really shiny, so they're going to pick up every bit of light and reflect it. This card is almost all red. Her dress blends in with the background. Okay, and that tiger is giving that, again, that protective feel. Is it protecting or attacking? Right? So that's kind of one of those things that you're going to pick up on in the reading. What's around it? Is it a card of protection or a card of protection or a card of attack? I mean, this one really looks like attack. Let's just, be honest about that. Claws are out, fangs are bared, and she's just she's like laying back into him. So there's pure trust on her part, okay, that he's going to protect her. Nine of Cups. 9 of Cups. It's wishes granted. This card will often have to do with wishes being, or desires being fulfilled, comfort, material success. So it almost has an earthy quality because of how much emphasis is given on the material. Superficial desires can also be lacking spiritual fulfillment. It always kind of reminds me of, the fat cat. Is he ignoring feelings to obtain material wealth? One thing that will pop out with me when I read this is they're almost like trophies where you're just showing them off. There's a smugness to this card, right? And he's no longer engaged in those emotions, right? Cups are emotions. And this one is one of the only cards that doesn't feel really involved with emotions. It has more of that material feeling. And again, he just looks very smug to me. And whereas in the Thoth deck, it's happiness. So again, that happiness, that fulfillment, but there's less idea, less indication of that material side. And this is that really like aesthetically pleasing, to me at least, that 3x3 of the cups, and everything's kind of pouring down. And that is happiness. And up here we have, wow, Jupiter. Blanked on that one for a moment. Jupiter. So Jupiter's expansion, okay, joy. So that makes sense. And then down here we have Pisces. Okay, so we have that little tiny symbol for Pisces down there, which is also a water sign, a little bit more sensitive. And in the Mary L deck, so we have, they're the monkeys that live in like Japan, where it's really cold and frosty, but they stay in like the thermal springs. He's holding an ankh, and there's that scorpion down there, which comes up on the moon card, which represents Pisces. Okay, and there's the two pillars here, which we see in plenty of other cards. This artist does kind of really cool things with the imagery and the symbols. Like, it kind of feels like pulling from other cards. So this, is like the High Priestess, where, you have the idea of the sun and the moon. And again, kind of has that smug quality, kind of like showing off. And again, if you do want a card, please share the broadcast out and comment #shared. And I will be pulling cards at the end. I think I'm just going to do Rider-Waite-Smith this time. I didn't actually shuffle the Mary L deck, so that one's not quite ready to read with, because I got distracted doing something else. Okay, so next up is Nine of Swords. Okay, Nine of Swords is, of course, one of the more recognizable images, because it's one of the more difficult ones. Okay, so here we have the figure waking up in the middle of the night with all these swords. So remember, swords are air. It's communication. There are thoughts. So it's literally all of your thoughts kind of coming down on you. But it can, on the kind of flip side of that, it can be waking up from that nightmare. Okay, so it can be, again, that part is fulfilled. So we're back into that fulfillment and that completion. So that part is over. You can kind of move forward from that really scary part. It's haunted is another, grieving, insomnia. So what are some things that can wake you up in the night or keep you up? Anxiety, just having troubled thoughts, having grief. Can also be self-sabotage. And this is, when I was writing my notes, self-sabotage popped into my head. In the way, so think of, I don't know if anybody else on here has ever procrastinated anything at all. I certainly have. So if you procrastinate and you do all of these other things, but you don't do the thing that like you should be doing, you kind of have that stress feeling and like, I'm literally doing this to myself. My brain is doing this to myself. So that's kind of what kind of came in as I was writing my notes, was that idea of self-sabotage. Milagros, hello. Yes. Um, so what I really like, so the blanket here, right, is covered in roses and astrological signs. And then over here on the other corner, there's like a relief or a carving of fencing. So there's that, the astrological idea of the stars, it's written in the stars. So kind of trying to let go of control a little bit. Oh my gosh, is everything okay? And there's still that fight over there. Okay, so maybe if you take a breath, try to release control. Sometimes, and we can recognize it and release it, that can help with anxiety. And, plus that idea of it's written in the stars. Like, we control our own destiny to a point, right? We can't worry things better. We can't worry things into existence. So when this comes up, you might also want to say, what is keeping me up at night? Well, Milagros, maybe some self-care, maybe. Yeah, of course, Erica, just comment, #shared, and I'll get you on the list. Milagros, definitely take care of yourself, okay? And so I definitely do this thing where I do 1 million things. And when I try to do the 1 million and one thing, I completely crash. Friday was like my crash night. Yes, absolutely. So Friday I got home from work. I didn't really have any appointments. I had a couple things that I had to do, and then I laid down. I was like, oh, I'll take a little nap. I slept. I woke up. I fed the cats. I went back to sleep. So I definitely needed a good long sleep, because I know if I don't, I will get sick. My immune system gets suppressed. All of my stress levels start to go crazy. We always try to push ourselves. So 9 of Swords in the Thoth deck is cruelty. So all of the swords are aiming down and they're like dripping blood. So this is definitely a pretty brutal card. So we have that background that we see sometimes in the Thoth deck that kind of indicates upset or chaos. And it's ruled by Mars and Gemini. So Mars and Gemini. So when I'm looking at those, the things that pop into my head really quickly is Gemini. Gemini are the talkers, right? And Mars is the battle planet, the planet of war. So it's like fighting words. Them's fighting words. That's the 9 of Swords with this one. And in the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's the same. You're kind of doing it to yourself. Okay, so there's that self-sabotage idea. I have a passive-aggressive guy over here poking his face in. So in the Mary L deck, and I looked at these very, very briefly. So this one, and it's, again, very difficult because they're shiny and they reflect everything. So this one has that kind of Egyptian feel. And then you have the dark and the white towers. And then the idea of like this really rough waves. So this is the I think it was the Palace of Enlightenment. So this is the 9 of Swords here. So takes on totally different imagery. And this almost feels like, so what kind of came through very, very strongly as I'm looking at this is like that when you see the cities like built into the cliffs, Greece is kind of coming to mind, even though this is Egyptian. And you kind of start out down here. So imagine like getting shipwrecked here and, you know, seeing you have to climb all the way up here to get safety. That's just kind of what came through. I don't know if that has anything to do with what the artist intended, but that's what popped into my head. Nine of Pentacles. This is one of my favorite cards. And I feel that there is really a lot to talk about, and it's all about what pops up to me when I'm doing the reading for my clients. It's prosperity, right? Pentacles are money, material items. So it's prosperity. It's refinement. Because she's in gowns, you know, she's clearly a noble woman. She clearly has money. It's independence. So again, we have that idea of that kind of solo-ness, that introspection, enjoying the good things, well-being. Sometimes people can indicate that she is lonely. And I would challenge that with, is she lonely or is she just alone? Just because there's only one figure, you know, doesn't necessarily mean they're lonely. Can also be self-discipline, self-satisfaction, or a unique kind of status, a unique kind of standing away from the crowd, okay? Because you don't often see noble women that have control over the falcon. So the Nine of Discs in the Thoth deck. And this always this always reminds me of like a stuffed animal like face with the nose, and I'm sure it's not supposed to look as goofy as my brain sees it. But I just kind of can't not see that. Or like when people draw the cats with like the nose and then the cheeks and the whiskers. I am 100% sure that's not what Lady Frida meant when she drew the card, but it's what my brain sees. And here, of course, you have the 9 discs, and it's gain. So that's an interesting word to use, gain. It's not earn, right? It's gain. So it's kind of it has more of the idea of coming into this. So inheritance, anything like that, it's more of that idea. That's what I think of when I hear gain. A rabbit, yeah, okay. So with a little, yes. Well, yeah, it's like these three here kind of give it that look. And of course, on the coins or the discs, you know, we see the faces. Think ancient Roman coins. You know, we see the imagery there. And this is ruled by Venus. So you can definitely see the Venus influence here. And Scorpio. So Scorpio is that money, you know, that money investment side, right? So that's gain. Okay. So that makes sense. So Venus and Scorpio. And in the Mary L deck, this one is like there's so much in this one. So this card uses the Baphomet figure with Order of the Golden Dawn colors and imagery and the Caduceus. So this one is going to be as above, so below, and kind of the two halves. And again, this deck has a really a real big focus on that dark and the light. So you can kind of see the dark and the light side of each card in the drawing. Yeah, I really need to get into this deck a little bit more. Anyway. So yeah, the nines. If you haven't followed Three of Cups Divine Arts, it would be awesome if you did. I also put my link up there if anybody has not liked or followed my Divination Station page. That's where you can kind of find all of the information about booking a reading with me. I'm doing in person in Buffalo. I'm also doing video chat, okay, or online readings. One of the things I'm still working on is my Etsy shop. So more things are going up every week. Trying to keep up with the divination starter kits. I've been putting up some mini kits and some fuller kits with a full-size deck, a book, a tarot book, pendulum, and assorted other goodies in there. So definitely check out my Etsy shop. And that's Witch Hearth Creations. One of the things that I have been working on and what I have to finish up tonight are the Zodiac Empowerment Bags. So this one's Scorpio. So there's going to be 4 crystals. Every one is going to have a rose quartz and a clear quartz. And then there's going to be two specific to the sign. You're going to get the card for your that represents your zodiac sign and your decan. So decan is the little smaller slice of that astrological pie. And I just need your date of birth for that, and I'm going to write up, and I do include information cards with that as well. So after this, we will be wrapping up the numbers, wrapping up the pit cards. So we're going to do the 10s. And then after that, I'm going to introduce the court cards. So we're just going to have a little chat about what they are, how to read them, before we deep dive the pages, the knights, the queens, and the kings. Leanna, awesome. Thank you. So with August, we'll see the start of the suit cards. And I know suit cards tend to be a little bit tricky because you don't really have as much to go on, right? As far as the imagery goes. So when people are starting to learn and really deep dive the meanings, it can be a little bit tricky. Some people go the route of, they're very gender specific, they're very person specific. I don't tend to read that way, okay? So that's why I'm going to do an intro to the court cards and then really dive into the court cards. And then after that, who knows? I haven't figured that part out yet. If anybody watching, even, in the replay or whatever, if you have any ideas, what you'd like to see after I finish up this kind of, this series, definitely let me know, okay? I am always open to suggestions. And I will go ahead with the readings. And definitely catch Bridget on Three of Cups on Saturdays, too. She does the Mythic Journeys. Last Saturday, she did Ask a Witch. So if you do have any witchy questions, and you see Bridget coming out with her Ask a Witch, ask her. Ask your friendly neighborhood underworld witch. All right, now for some card pulls. So first up we have Trudy. Again, I'm using regular old Rider-Waite-Smith. Old Faithful, as I call it. So 9 of Wands. So Trudy, what I'm getting for you with this card is that feeling of kind of getting to the other side of a battle, okay? Kind of getting to the other side of a difficult time, and you're leaning on what you were just fighting against, okay? So it's like you've gotten through the tough spot, you've gotten through the tough part, but you haven't quite severed that like relationship. And I'm using that word not necessarily as like an interpersonal relationship, more like car came into mind, more like when you have a car that you really love and it's just a little bit past, you know, putting more money into it, but you keep doing it. That's almost what it feels like, kind of throwing good money after bad. Like you're going to keep kind of battling the same things because you're not quite severing that tie. You're not quite cutting those cords. So you're going to find yourself on this side of the battle until you start to break away from what's making you fight in the first place. Okay? Again, that was for Trudy. Eric, you are next. All right, I got you, Lena, got you, Lyra. Okay. All right, Eric. 8 of Cups. So if any of you are watching the 8s from last week, 8 of Cups is walking away on your own terms. Okay, it's seeing a situation that's no longer good for you, and until instead of waiting until it like tears you up, you're gonna leave. Okay, you're gonna leave and say, okay, you know, I see the situation, I see it for what it is, and I see it's not good for me anymore. And you're following the stream up. So water's always emotion, remember. So you're kind of you're following your intuition. You're following what you feel, not what you think you should do. Okay? So you're leaving on your own terms. And I really feel that if you wait, it's going to be much more painful. Okay? Okay. And Trudy, that's entirely possible too. Just kind of take a look for the next couple days. Sometimes things will pop up and it'll be like super clear. Even if it's not clear right now. Okay? Just kind of keep it in the back of your head, and if anything does, you know, resonate, take what resonates from that. And you know, like I said, keep an eye out, and very often things will kind of like unfold. Okay. So Eric, taking a walk away from before things get real bad. Farah, you are next. Five of Wands. So we're getting some difficult cards. Five of Wands. Fives are always an upset, always a disruption. What I'm getting here is a disruption in, okay, five of Wands is a disruption in, it almost feels like your like energy field. Okay, again, this is for Farah. Or a disruption in your plans. Something that you've been kind of planning on doing, moving forward with. Something or someone has kind of come in and kind of thrown a wrench in it, and it's no longer going the way that you planned. All right, Cheryl, you are up next. Queen of Pentacles. So Queen of Pentacles. Queens are the authority of the suit, is some of the wording that's used for queens. Queens represent water. You're welcome, Farah. Pentacles represent earth. So it's water of earth. Water and earth. Thank you so much, Milagros. That just makes me very happy to hear. So with the water of earth, you get growth, right? You get plants, you get growth, you nurture it. And if you look here, it's almost like it's like the moss is kind of like creeping up towards her. And it's not in like it's not in a creepy way, okay? It's almost like if you're around her or this energy, if you're around this energy, people are drawn to you. And they want to be close to you because they want that energy, okay? They want to be in that energy, which is great as long as they're not draining your resources, okay? So as long as you keep everything watered, fertilized, the pH balance in the soil is right. I'm getting a lot of gardening like downloads here. And again, this is for Cheryl. So right now I'm feeling like this is you, okay? And you are just putting out this such loving energy right now that people are just drawn to you, okay? I did listen to, so I love podcasts. I listened to Ologies with Allie Ward, and she talks to different scientists about their unique little study, their ologies, okay? And one was, they did a study of moss, and it is the cutest darn thing. The way that this person talks about moss is adorable. Like, it makes me love moss. And that's kind of what I saw there with the green kind of creeping up. You're welcome. So, sorry that turned into a diatribe about moss, but that's okay. All right, Leslie, I got you. Sharon, I got you. All right, Erica, you are next. Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles for you, Erica. So what I'm getting for you with this is, about that fulfillment, about that independence and that well-being. So you are Milagros. Yep, I got you. You're next. So Erica, what I'm getting for you with this is that prosperity, is that independence and really taking your space in, okay? Really getting out there and enjoying your space, enjoying what you set up for yourself, okay? And I think, the whole lonely alone thing, I think you are enjoying, oh, hi, Milagros' fiance. I think you are enjoying being kind of solo and kind of hanging out. Like, I just picture like going out on a deck or a porch in the morning before it gets too hot, with a cup of coffee and a book, and just really, listening to the birds, kind of being able to smell the plants and the grass and just enjoying being present. That's it, being present. And you're also able to do this a little bit more because you're not quite as worried about finances as you were. So you're able to enjoy and actually relax. Okay? Awesome. Awesome. All right, Milagros, you are next. King of Cups. So King of Cups, again, getting a little sneak preview of the suit cards. Kings are awesome. Kings represent fire. Nope. Earth. Nope. Fire. Brain. And cups are water. So they don't always go together, right? King of Cups is very compassionate when it comes to dealing with other people. Very, so if you think of an actual like king, handing out, judgments and edicts and what's best for the kingdom, he's always going to do what's best for the kingdom. Okay? He's not going to think about himself. He's selfless in that respect. He's always going to think about other people first. So you can see he's kind of holding that cup a little more prominent than the scepter. So the kind of other side of that is not being in touch with his own feelings, okay? Being able to see and feel everybody else, but when it comes to himself, being more detached. So you can kind of see here, he's on this, like he's not touching the water, but he's there. So he's very close to the water. He's very involved, but he's just not getting in it. He's not getting wet. So there's a little bit of a detachment from his own emotions. So with this, I would definitely say make sure that you are really tuning into your own needs, okay, as well as the needs of everyone around you. Not being so almost like logical with self-care, right? Not being so logical with yourself, giving yourself compassion as well. All right. Lena or Leanna, Leana. I'm not sure if it's Lena or Leanna. You are next. Probably Lena because it's one N. So this just popped out as I was shuffling. 8 of Swords. And again, if you were with us last week when we went over the eights are those gate cards, right? So 8 of Swords is all about feeling trapped. You're not actually trapped, but you feel that way. Okay, you feel like everything's kind of closing in. You're welcome, Milagros. You feel like everything is kind of closing in around you. And that can be your own thoughts, your own anxieties. And if you do any work with like coping mechanisms or anything like that, one of the things that therapists and whomever will say will fear, not fact. We can be afraid of things and worried about things, but is that going to happen? Okay. So really think about what your fears are, what you're anxious about, what feels like it's trapping you, and really do a check-in. Is this real or is it in my head? And I'm not saying that to be dismissive at all. Okay. I'm not trying to push it away. Your feelings are valid. Okay. But what we're afraid of very rarely comes to fruition. So think of worst case scenario. Never happens, right? But we never think about the best case scenario. So here, she's very trapped by fear, and all she really has to do is trust her intuition and take a couple steps forward. She's not going to be in this like sword fence anymore. It's going to free her up. And actually what kind of came to mind as I was looking at this is she's going to walk forward, and it's like she can grab this sword. Feels like it's a little bit further away. It's like she can grab that one and use that as a weapon. So that's kind of an interesting thing to pop out. I've never really noticed that before, that one sword is so much further ahead of the other ones. So that's kind of cool. I like it. All right, Lyra, you are up next. And again, if you are watching and you shared and I haven't read you, and I have Lyra, Sharon, and Leslie left. I haven't been able to watch the comments on the screen, so I'm watching them on my phone. So there's, if I missed you, please let me know. Lyra, 10 of Cups. That happy home feeling card. Everything's kind of working out. All of the plans that have been put in place are now kind of coming to fruition. Everybody feels like they've settled down a little bit, and they're like things have settled down a little bit, and everyone is kind of hitting the kind of happy stride. And things are just kind of fitting together. And I always think of, somewhere over the rainbow with this one. And we are going to be going over the 10s next week. So we're going to be going over the 10s in detail next week. So if you've had any questions or you want to know how to interpret the 10s, definitely join me next week. Same time, same channel. And of course, I share it around a few different places too. And as I'm wrapping up here, it is a full moon. Keep that in mind. It is a full moon in Aquarius. I do actually have a full moon chat posted on Divination Station. So if you do want to watch my full lunar chat, head over there and check it out. I will... Okay. Yep, Lena, that unfortunately, that makes sense. And I hope you heal quickly as well. If you do want the full lunar chat, head over to my page, Divination Station. It is tagged in the comments. Head over there and check out my chat. And definitely comment, let me know what you think of it. So Sharon Taylor. So I pulled 8 of Cups for you as well. So what I'm getting from you is, again, it's almost always that, that walking away feel. Um, and this I'm feeling, it doesn't feel like it's a major thing you're walking away from. It feels fairly minor in the long run, but it's almost like you are kind of going back and forth about it for a while, until you finally did, and then you're like, that wasn't even a big deal. Okay, so I don't know if it's like a job you don't really like, or like a group, like a Facebook group, or like a social circle, something like that. And it doesn't feel like even like full-time job, maybe like a part-time job, side gig, something like that. That's really not quite what you thought it was going to be. And kind of taking a walk away from it. All right, Leslie, you are next. Francie, hello. I am just about wrapping up, but if you do want to share the broadcast out, I can get you a card. The beginning of the chat was a lesson. We went over all of the 9s of the tarot. So if you are just popping in and you want to catch the replay, definitely do that. You're going to learn all about the 9s. I go over the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Thoth deck, and this time I use the Mary L. Tarot. So learn all about them individually and how they kind of play out in readings. Next week, 8 p.m. on 3 of Cups Divine Arts, I will be talking about the 10s, and thus completing our Pip journey. We're going to take a moment to introduce the court cards after that, and then we're going to dive into those. Leslie, the world. Speaking of conclusions, Leslie, the world. The world isn't the end of a cycle. And it's usually a major thing. It's usually something pretty big. So think of like graduating or getting a promotion and leaving that position behind for another one. It's almost it's that leveling up. Okay. Leslie, so the world is almost always that feeling of leveling up. You're leaving one cycle and moving on to the next one. There's the idea of the 4 corners, so the 4 directions, the 4 elements here, and they also represent zodiac. I believe it's Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius, I believe. I can never quite nail this one down. But you really have that idea of completion in there, okay? And the world, the figure is holding 2 wands. So remember, we start off, the magician has 1. So we've gained the power of manifestation throughout the journey of the majors. And if you do want to catch any more of my lives, well, they're not live anymore, but they are all on the 3 of Cups Divine Arts channel and also my YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting up more content on my YouTube channel. So if you pop over there and give it a follow, within the next coming weeks, I'm going to add some more playlists in there. So there's going to be some cool stuff. There's going to be some YouTube exclusive content. And as always, I'm going to put all of my lives on there too. And I'm going to go because I'm going to feed my cats before they literally run the house down. I thank you so much. And thank you so much for the support and the loves. And like I said, catch me next week, 8 p.m. We'll talk about the tens. Have a great night. Stay safe. Stay healthy, okay? Bye.